So when I was getting started with my first real FPV drone, I spent so much time researching all the random stuff I needed to get, from what the best 5-inch drone was, to batteries, to chargers, all that stuff. All the little random odds and ends that you have to figure out and pull together to be able to fly FPV. So to save you all that time, I decided to make this video and show you what my best recommendations are for drones, batteries, chargers, all that good stuff, so you can just go buy this stuff and not have to waste a bunch of time trying to figure it all out. And I'm not claiming this is the only stuff that anyone should ever get. I'm just telling you what I think some of the best options out there are, so you don't have to waste your time and money. So let's start with the drone. This right here is the JEP RC Vapor D5. I think this is one of the best, if not the best, price to value ratio 5-inch FPV drones out there right now. You can get it directly here in the US for about $550 straight off of Amazon. Obviously somewhat cheaper if you do decide to get it from like AliExpress or Bangood or somewhere like that and get it shipped in from China, but that obviously will take a lot longer and you might have to deal with customs and it getting stuck in packages, all that kind of stuff. JEP RC sells them directly on Amazon, and honestly I think that is a great place to get them, and $550 for a 5-inch drone with an 04 Pro camera unit already installed and a GPS module on the back is about as cheap as you're going to get. And even aside from value for the price, this just seems to be one of the best 5-inch quads out there. It is very well tuned, flies super smoothly, no jello unless you have a damaged prop or something, which will then add some shakes. But if you have your props in good condition, it is super smooth, no jitters, no jello, and all in all flies really well. And it's also extremely tough. I have rammed this into all sorts of things, and the only thing I have broken so far is props. As you can see, it's like currently covered in dirt, but it is still flying just fine, which is amazing. So all in all, if you want to get a 5-inch quad, especially a 5-inch 04 quad, this is the one that I would get. I've seen comparisons between the Vapor D5 and other drones that cost almost twice as much, and it holds its own against and sometimes even beats those more expensive 5-inch quads. And this drone is also very efficient. I can get 9 minutes of flight time with a 16 or 1800 milliamp hour battery out of this if I cruise pretty gently, which is pretty good for a 5-inch quad. So my recommendation is just go get this one. Now, getting the FPV drone is great, but it doesn't come with everything else you need to fly. And one of the most important things you need to fly are batteries. Now, there's a whole lot of different battery specs that you can pay attention to, and I'm not going to spend this whole video talking about battery specs, but the ones I've mainly used are these 1600 milliamp hour packs from Ovonic and these 1800 milliamp hour packs from China Hobbyline. Both of these are 6S batteries, which means they have 6 cells in them and put out 22 volts of power to the drone, which is what you need for a 5-inch drone like this. I found both the China Hobbyline and Ovonic batteries to work quite well, and I actually get pretty similar flight times with both of these batteries, because even though this one has an extra 200 milliamp hours, it is quite a bit bigger and chunkier and therefore somewhat heavier than the Ovonic 1600 milliamp hours, so it takes more energy to carry the battery, and therefore you end up with about the same flight time. These Ovonic batteries in particular have been extremely solid and impressive. I've even discharged one of these down to around 1.5 volts per cell. For reference, they're never supposed to go under about 3.2 volts per cell, and I was able to recharge it and it still kept flying. Not really recommended, but these are extremely good quality batteries, especially for the price, and links to both these Ovonic batteries and the CNHL batteries will be down in the description, along with links to the drone and everything else I'm talking about. Now, having all the right drone gear is great, but if you don't know how to get good shots with it, it's probably not going to do you a whole lot of good. So that's why I put together a completely free 45-minute drone filmmaking training where I share my top 10 secrets to getting the best shots with any drone. In this training, I cover the best settings to use, how to compose your shots, how to get smooth dynamic movements, how to edit your videos, how to color grade them, and a whole bunch more. If you want to improve your drone shots, go check that out. Link is down in the description. Now back to the FPV kit. Now, having batteries is great, but you've somehow got to be able to charge these batteries. And there's all kinds of different chargers out there. Some need a power supply that you have to buy separately from the charger. Some have a built-in power supply. Some could charge multiple batteries at once. But the one that I have ended up getting and using, I actually got a second one of these because I like them so well, is the ISDT 608 PD power delivery charger. This is a charger that connects to a power delivery USB-C cable like what you would use to charge a DJI drone, and then charges one of these Lipo batteries off of the power from that USB-C connection. And if you do want to use a separate power supply, it does also have an XT60 port. The fact this uses USB-C is really great, especially if you already have a bunch of USB-C chargers for all of your other drones, which was me. You can just plug these into anywhere that has USB-C power delivery power. You can plug them in a car, you can plug them into a power bank, you can plug them into just about anything and charge your batteries. And you can also plug one of your Lipos into this charger and actually use the USB-C port as a power output to charge your phone or something like that, which can be great if you get in a pinch or if you just need to discharge one of these batteries partially to the storage voltage of 3.8 volts without having to fly your drone. And these chargers are also nice and super small and light, so you can just throw them in a bag if you need to travel with them, and they don't take up a lot of space. All in all, fantastic chargers. These are what I'd recommend if you are getting started. Again, I bought 2 of them, and they're also quite cheap at around $25 to $30, unlike some other options out there that can be $50, $60, or even $100+. Now, speaking of batteries and charging, you do have to be careful that you don't charge these batteries at the wrong voltage or the wrong current, or charge a damaged battery, like if you get a stick poked into your battery, because any of those things could potentially cause your battery to light on fire. Now, this isn't a battery charging tutorial, there's plenty of other great videos on that, but to make it a little bit safer, you can get one of these little fireproof Lipo charging bags. Now, I'm not sure how much of a fire these will actually contain in the real world. They obviously have limits, but it is some kind of fireproof material, and it just gives you a little bit of extra peace of mind. I know the first time I was charging one of these batteries, I was super freaked out. I charged it outside in one of these bags. Now I'm a lot less worried about it because I understand charging a lot better, but I will still many times charge in this fireproof Lipo bag, and it's a pretty good idea to have one of these around. Plus it only costs like 10, 12 bucks, so why not? And before we move entirely away from batteries and charging, there's this little tiny board right here that's called a smoke stopper board. Now what this basically does is when you plug your drone in for the first time, you plug this in between your drone and the battery so that if there's anything in your drone that is shorting out, it won't burn up your drone. This little board will limit the current to prevent that from happening, and the light will turn red to let you know that there is something wrong. Now, if you are getting a pre-built drone from a company like JetRC or iFlight or somebody like that, there shouldn't be any issues. It is kind of more for if you're building your own drone, but it really can't hurt when you are plugging in for the first time in case they made some mistake at the factory. That way you don't burn up your $500 drone. Now, another super important thing to preserve the life of your drone as long as possible is ND filters for the camera. Now, this isn't going to be such a big thing if you are using an analog drone or something like that, but I have a DJI O4 Pro Air unit in this drone because it shoots beautiful 4K 60 video directly on its own without having to put an external GoPro on it, which lets you get a lot longer flight times with the same batteries, lets you fly a lot further and get longer shots than if you had to have a GoPro on it. The only problem is it is quite easy to damage the lens on the camera. So that is why I always fly with either a clear lens protector filter clipped on the camera or an ND filter if I want to slow down my shutter speed and get nice natural motion blur for more creamy cinematic shots. Now, the O4 Pro camera is essentially exactly the same camera as on the Avata 2. So in theory, Avata 2 ND filters and UV filters will fit on this drone. The only problem is just where the camera is mounted on this drone, it's too narrow for the Avata 2 ND filters to clip into here. So you're going to need to get O4 Pro specific ND filters. And the ones that I use and recommend and love are the ones from Camera Butter. These are made out of, I think, Gorilla Glass, something like that, that is extra strong, stronger than your regular ND filters, so they are less likely to break or get scratched themselves when you crash and do a better job protecting the camera. And they are also made with quite tight tolerances, which means they are relatively hard to to snap onto the camera, but also means that they are a lot harder to accidentally fall off when you crash, which I've even had these fall off once, I think, when I crashed, but they fall off way less than a lot of other ND filters. And I would absolutely 100% recommend that you do pick up a set of ND filters for your drone if you have an 04 Pro on it, or at least pick up a set of clear UV protective filters, because I can almost guarantee you my camera would be all scratched and ruined by now if I didn't have filters on it when I was flying. And I will link these ones from Camera Butter down in the description. They're not paying me to say that. I bought them myself, but they are just really, really good. So what else do you need? You will need props for your drone. Now, exactly what props you're gonna need does depend a little bit on what drone you're getting. In general, getting more of the props that came with your drone is a pretty good choice. The ones that came with this drone and what I've been using are Gemfan 5136. They're great, they do the job. They are quite tough. They obviously will get damaged when you run into stuff. That's just how it is with flying FPV, but these are incredibly tough. I've had some that bent like 45 degrees and didn't break, which is much better than the prop just exploding into pieces and then your drone falls out of the air because it can't fly without the prop. So when you get an FPV drone, definitely get a package of props because you'll definitely need them, and I'll link these ones down in the description as well. And another thing that you might want to get your hands on is prop nuts to hold the props on. Now, your drone is going to come with those by default, but you can potentially lose them. One time I ran into a tree and I didn't have the props tightened down quite enough. It screwed the prop nuts right off a couple of the motors, and so I didn't have prop nuts and had to go order some more. So honestly, it's not a bad idea to order a couple of extra prop nuts for your drone, and I'll put a link to where you can get some down in the description. They're again pretty cheap, like 10 or 15 bucks for like 10 or 15 of them. And then last but not least, we have goggles and controller. Now this is going to depend somewhat on what video transmission system you decide to use. I absolutely love the DJI transmission system. It's basically the best out there. If you want to shoot cinematic FPV, I feel like there's really no contest. The DJI 04 camera unit and the Goggles 3 are basically your best options out there. And if you already have, say, an Avata 2, you will already have these goggles, so you might as well just go ahead and use them. So the Goggles 3 are my recommended goggles. There's also the Goggles N3, which aren't quite as high-end, don't have quite as many features, but are quite a bit cheaper, and those could be a good option if you want to go with the DJI system but want to spend a bit less and don't already have goggles. And then finally, you'll need a remote to control your drone with. Now, there is quite a bit of debate about what the best remote is. I'm just using the DJI remote that works with the goggles and the drone. That way you don't need a separate receiver. It all goes through the DJI 04 Pro system. Now, a lot of people don't like that because they say, well, it's better to have a separate control link and a separate video link. And I kind of do get what they're saying, but one of their main arguments is that if you have separate video transmission and control systems, even if your video feed cuts out, let's say you get too far behind a mountain, you'll still have a control link and you can punch out of bad situations and hopefully get the drone back up higher and into line of sight. And that does make sense. The only thing is, even though the video transmission and control link do go together over seems like the same signal, you do get quite a bit longer range of the control link than the goggles. I've had some situations where I started to dip behind something and was losing control feed on the goggles and still had plenty of control connection from the remote. So I don't think that it's nearly as big of a deal as some people make it out to be. And I also personally really like this remote. You'll also probably already have this remote if you had an Avata 2 or something like that beforehand and were learning to fly FPV with that. And I also just really like this remote because it's quite small and compact. You can fit it into a bag and travel with it a lot better than some of the larger, for example, ELRS remotes that you can use instead of these. This one is nice and compact, feels good in your hand, isn't too big and heavy, and has a pretty familiar DJI layout on it. So I think it's pretty hard to go wrong with this for building your first FPV kit. And one final thing that you should get is extended control sticks for the FPV Remote Controller 3 from DJI. That is its one downfalling. The built-in control sticks are a little bit short for my liking, so I just got these $10 control sticks off of Amazon that extend the length of the stick and let you have a little bit finer, more tactile control over the drone and make it easier to fly in tight spots and cruise smoothly above the ground and not be bouncing up and down. So there you have have my complete 5-inch FPV kit recommendations for 2026. As I'll mention, I'll put together a list of links down in the description so you can just go buy all this stuff if you want, or you can go and do a whole bunch of research on your own as well. This is just to hopefully make it faster to figure out what to get and give you a good starting point for buying stuff. You can click right here to see what happened when I tried a real FPV drone for the very first time. Go check out my free drone filmmaking training down in the description. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video or found it helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos just like this.